is cracking? So
Yes,
Lakers go on the road for their first game on the road. You get an announcement today that Luka is going to be out, and we're going to kind of dive into what he's dealing with later in the show. But what was your first thought when you heard that? Because especially coming off of a 43-point game and a 49-piece last game.
First thought was like, damn, because we have talked about how this first 15 games or so are critical. I mean, even without LeBron and just getting off to that quick start, the West is daunting, and you don't want to fall behind early. And so that was kind of my first thought. I anticipate him coming back relatively quick, but they have a lot of games in this like jam-packed next couple weeks. So that's kind of what my first thought was like, shoot, we're going to get behind the 8 ball here. But, games like tonight do help because I kind of thought tonight would be a tough challenge in Sacramento, which it was. It was a close game, but, obviously glad they pulled through. But, yeah, overall, it's, injury bug is starting a little too early this season for the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, think about if you would have told me, just wipe out the season so far, 2 games, and you're not even thinking about it. But if you're in your 3rd game and you weren't going to have LeBron James or Luka already in your 3rd game, and you can put Jackson Hayes in there.
Yep.
I mean, win a game on the road, 3rd game of the season in Sacramento is pretty damn impressive there. And that was a big part of Mr. Austin Reaves, Mr. I'ma get the bag. What can I say? Like, from undrafted player to where he is as a Laker, and we talked about this before the season, is I thought potentially he could be an all-star this season. Main reason is because LeBron was going to be out for probably 10 to 15 games.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at, all right, he's definitely can be that Batman or be that Robin to anybody, to Luka, right? They can possibly be one of the best backcourt duos in the league because of what they're doing offensively.
Yeah, I think he should definitely have obviously a long way to go to the All-Star break, but he should have the numbers. Like first 3 games, I think were 25, 26, and of course now 51.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's been a just natural progression. He's gotten better every year, basically. Lakers have done a great job with developing him, and obviously he's put in a lot of work. And so yeah, we went through the list, right, of all the guards and stuff, and we'll see where the chips fall, right? There's going to be injuries. There's going to be people that are out, in and out of lineups. And I would anticipate him being at the very least in the running for kind of a reserve position in the West or whatever they're doing now.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the Lakers guard play to start the season, right? I mean, the 43 from Luka, the 49, and now 51. Like, I can't think of. I mean, probably since like Steph Curry, kind of Klay Thompson, where they've had a period of 3 games in a row where they've had 40, 40, and 50. I'm sure there has been. I'm sure there's been multiple guards that have done that on teams, but to me, that is damn near one of the most amazing stats you'll see in a long time.
Oh yeah, I mean, a few games in, I think Luka just did it really quick, averaging 46. Austin Reaves averaging 34. We know it's early, but it is pretty historic for games of guard play, first few games of the season. And yeah, it's just gonna probably most likely have to carry the load in that sense, just gonna probably have to win some high scoring affairs like they did tonight. And yeah, pretty remarkable.
Yeah. One of the biggest things for me, like in the offseason, was, there's always talk about, should you trade Austin Reaves? Can Austin Reaves and Luka work together? And my thing is, they're just interchangeable, right? They both can create for themselves and create for the teammates. So that's why you see him when he's by himself, he's getting damn near triple-double because he can get the assists, he can get the rebounds, and also can score. And I just think that they're like 3-way players like that. And so you put them together, it's like you got one on one side, one on the other side, and then you add obviously one of the greatest players of all time, a LeBron, to that, and you have 3 of those interchangeable players. And so if you have one guy that's injured or one guy that needs to play less minute or is out, you always will have that facilitator on the court. And I think that just is going to work big time for the Lakers as they move forward in the season.
Yeah, when they have the three guys, I mean, obviously they're going to start, they're going to finish games and things of that nature, but they're going to have to figure out a way to somehow. I mean, obviously the score of the game is going to dictate things, but at least have 1 to 2 of those guys like at all times on the floor. Kind of figure out a way to stagger that.
Yeah.
Obviously when the 3 are there, because they. Yeah, like you said, they're interchangeable. They do a lot of similar things, which sometimes we'll see. I mean, sometimes it's a little tough having guys to do the same thing. But I mean, they showed last year it could work. There were some other things that need to get shored up that hopefully will. But yeah, I just feel like when it's hopefully soon here in the next few weeks, when everybody's back, it's we see at least one of them on the floor at all times.
Yeah, that's the best part is you can have two of them on the bench, but you just always will have to have one of them there. Now, first thing that came to mind for me is, obviously Austin is going to be going into a contract year and a big extension to be coming in maybe this offseason. First thing I thought was, after this game, Austin Reaves has to be doing a little bit of this.
Here it is. Show me the money.
Show me the money. He's going to get that bag, isn't he, Eric? And you obviously hope it's going to be with the Lakers, but do you want that to happen? Do you? I mean, I know we're in the moment. We're obviously playing that kind of, as it happens. We obviously are super high on them, but do you want Austin Reaves to be a Laker for a long time?
I mean, before I answer that, so I believe so. I think he's up this summer, right? Whether he could probably opt out, and so he is showing that his progression, like as I talked about, and then tonight, and we'll see the next couple of weeks, he's also showing off to some of those teams, like, hey, I could maybe be like that guy too, or that number 2 versus like the number 3 here. And so I think for the Lakers, what they got to think about, so obviously they'll have his bird rights and they can kind of sign him to whatever his like eligibility is in terms of contracts. I guess they just got to think, if not him, then who, and who is that? How much is that going to cost? And is that player going to do what Austin does? Is it going to be a little different? So you got to think about those things. So with all that said and done, or with all that, knowing all that, I would say, yeah, you probably do as a Laker. Just need to kind of wrap it up. Because he's showing right now, at least, that he's obviously a hell of a ball player.
Yeah, and to me, to solidify your backcourt, guys that are, Luka's 26, Austin is 25 or 26, if I'm not mistaken. So to solidify young 20-year-olds in their mid-20s to pretty much be 27. Okay, so they'll be in their prime at this point. Solidify that for like 4 to 5 years. I think that is a sign deal, right? Now LeBron, obviously, there's going to be a lot to be worked out there, whether or not he's going to retire, whether or not he just wants to be a free agent, kind of go somewhere for maybe his last year. Yeah. Regardless of that, I think you're going to have to lock him down and then work on who you would add as that third person if LeBron were to leave, right? But I think overall, you got to give the boy his money. He is likely, I mean, if he continues on this trajectory of the way his career is going, will go down as one of the best undrafted NBA players ever.
Ooh, that is definitely saying a lot, because but probably it's true. I mean, obviously just came out of nowhere, undrafted, came up in the G League or whatever it was called then, and I think it was G League still. Just trying to look up here. So he could decline his 14.8 million option, which most likely will happen. he could potentially earn around 30 to 40 million annually. So Lakers could offer, oh my gosh, Lakers could offer him a 5-year 240 max, while other teams can do a 40. Other teams, like say if Lakers don't do it, they go to the summer, he's a free agent. Other teams can offer 4 for 183. So it all just depends, I guess you got to see who wants to pay that, right? Yeah, 183 divided by 4. Yeah, it's like 45. I would be comfortable like I mean, I know the salaries are just going up and up, and so somewhere kind of in like the 35 range, which is crazy, but
now if he makes an all NBA team, say for instance, I mean, I don't think that's possible this year, but if he made an all NBA team, if he made an all NBA team, does that change it? Like at this point, like because he was a undrafted player, he's on a different type of extension. I'm just trying to think if it's the same as if anybody made an all NBA team, or it'd be a little bit different for him.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it is a little different with like not being drafted and things like that. So I mean, I'm just kind of, I don't know if this is accurate, but it says making an all NBA team could qualify him for a higher level max contract.
Yeah, so he might be a little bit more.
Yeah,
but he also,
anyways,
thinking about the Lakers, like not that he would take a huge discount or anything like that, but it might be one of those like, hey, I'm good 4-year, 5-year, $200 million, whatever that is, right? To kind of align with Luka, which I think he's gonna be in the range from 40 to 50. I mean that seems the way he's playing, he's likely gonna get that. And with the contracts going up, right, Luka's going to eventually be making like 60 million a year, or whatever that figure is. There's going to be players making 70, right, plus $1 million a year based on the new cap. So it's going to probably be a value if we just sign him for that extension.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we know it's a business, right? And then there's going to be that poker, kind of game of poker where it's like, okay, well, if you are going to be a free agent this coming off season, which teams are going to have cap space, right? And are they going to sign you for that? And somebody may, you got your Nets of the world, and will they throw all their money at Austin Reaves? I don't know. So that's kind of just going to, a little bit of game of cat and mouse with that. But just to not turn into something ugly, I would imagine Lakers probably, and maybe Reaves as well, I would imagine as well, want to just wrap this up too. In terms of an extension, but he's definitely, at least the first few games, is proving that he's worth it. So I think that's something we'll just have to monitor as the season goes on.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of going back to undrafted players, right? 3 of the best kind of undrafted players right now are Ben Wallace, who's obviously a Hall of Famer, right? We talked about him kind of before. Different type of player, but obviously great defensive player. One of the Detroit Pistons wouldn't have won championships without him. You got
everybody makes the Hall of Fame these days, huh? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Eric, sorry, we ain't disrespecting on a Sunday night, Eric.
I know.
Ben Wallace, not my man, Ben Wallace.
Not on Sundays. Not on Sundays.
The next one I tell you is Udonis Haslem. We know how long his career went in the last 5 years of his career on the bench.
I was making a face as I thought you were saying Hall of Fame too, but I get it.
No. He's not.
Yeah.
He's one of the best undrafted players.
Solid.
And then you got Fred VanVleet, right? So
okay.
I think offensively, Austin Reaves is probably one of the best. Right, because Ben Wallace was obviously not an offensive player, just more defense, and kind of just was the captain of that team, kind of led that team, right? But when you think offensively, Austin Reaves getting into his prime, is he better than Fred VanVleet as a scorer? Likely, right? Fred VanVleet is obviously a great player. He's won a championship in this league, but compared to what Austin Reaves can kind of do on the court at this stage and what he's doing, I think he can go down as one of the best undrafted players.
I think so. You know how many points Ben Wallace averaged in his career? I'm sorry.
Stop it. It's going to be like 6, bro.
It's 5.7. I just had to think. 5.7.
But okay, give me 14 rebounds then. What's the average on the rebounds?
Let's see, rebounds. I just had it right.
If he's averaging 5.6, he must have been averaging like at least by the end of his career, probably about 11, 12. But I know in his prime, he was getting that 17, 18 boards a game or something like that.
9.6.
Okay. Okay. So my man Ben Wallace, no disrespect, went into the Hall of Fame with singles.
Singles. You know, look.
But that's gonna be Draymond Green. Like he's gonna go into the Hall of Fame as that. We can't fully disrespect these players because we saw them. We definitely saw what Ben Wallace meant to the Detroit Pistons, right? Now, when you look back at numbers, it looks awful. But, if you collected players in that time period and you said who was the best center during that time period, obviously, offensively, it was not him, but he would be up there with one of the best defensive players in the league at that time.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously, like his first few years of the season of the league, and then his last few probably really brought down those averages. But yeah, similar to a Draymond, I'm sure somebody doing a podcast in like 20, 30 years may look at those stats and be like, as well. And you really know what he has meant for the Warriors just by the eye test and I guess Ben Wallace, which I didn't think we'd be getting into Ben Wallace tonight, but yeah, he obviously beat the Lakers in 2004. He was pretty huge then, so I guess I can't say much. But I would say he had a 1, 2, 3, and he was like defensive player of the year, right? 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess we got to put Rudy Gobert in there too then. But anyways, so
you are getting everybody tonight, Eric.
I'm just getting everybody.
Oh goodness.
Ben Wallace does have a chip. That does count. But anyway, so when you said like Austin Reaves one of the better players undrafted, I honestly thought those 3 you said are really good players. I thought there would be actually some better ones. So man, he is definitely in the running, when it's all said and done, I would imagine.
I thought Michael Redd was undrafted free agent.
I was thinking him too, but he was a second round.
He was second round. Okay. Like I always remember him like as a late second or something like that.
Yeah, really late, I think.
There's not as many as you would think, right? I mean, there's like Avery Johnson was undrafted, right? So he's a great player, obviously. Solid. But yeah, to go overall, like to be this skilled offensively is kind of shocking.
Yeah, no, for real. Because like I said, when you said that, I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder who else is out there. But he's in good company, right? Like I guess like John Starks too. I mean, there's some good guys, but at this trajectory and just offensively speaking, and we'll see what he can do kind of to the next several years. But man, he's definitely balling out so far. That's for sure.
For sure. All right, so let's get to these Lakers a little bit. I know we got into Austin Reaves a lot, and it's well deserved. But overall, just looking at this new kind of revamped Lakers squad, right? And going into last season before, when we would have AD out or LeBron out, like you just felt there was nothing they can do offensively. Even defensively sometimes, and you really didn't know where they're going to get points from. And so when you look at tonight's game, obviously a lot came from Austin Reaves, but you had players like Rui put in 18. And then I wanted to get to my man, DeAndre Ayton, who had 22 and 15.
What up?
He's a big guy. Yes.
Okay. DeAndre Ayton. Give him his flowers. We got on him after the first game.
Yeah, well deserved. He, the second game, I think he had like 15 and 10. This game's kind of come up a little bit. But obviously, with Luka out, we're going to need him to be in that 20 and 10 range to kind of fill the gaps, right? But what do you see out of DeAndre, and what do you feel kind of moving forward?
Yeah, like, last year, if we didn't have those two, we wouldn't have a big fella to kind of lean on against Sabonis and teams like that. He definitely... If you're talking about just tonight, I mean, he outplayed Sabonis, which he actually normally kills us, to be honest with you.
Yeah, remember what he did to AD?
AD, yeah. Yeah, it was different when he played AD. That's why AD doesn't want to play that 5, right? But anyways, so we'll need more of that. I mean, you would know he's not going to get 22 and 15 every night, but he should if LeBron and Luka are out, and those rebounds. It's something that I believe he can get every night, around that at least. And if we can get 20 points out of him, that's gravy. But 15 to 17 would be nice. But yeah, I thought he was physical again. I thought he outplayed Sabonis as I mentioned, and he was just that extra 20 points that they really needed tonight. And so they'll need him against a Zex team tomorrow and going forward for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I like having a true center, right? Obviously, all of us talk about AD. He did not want to play center. He did not want to play the 5. He was still dominant. Don't get me wrong. Like, he was great at that position. But like the fact that we can actually have a big guy that can impose his will on the offensive end and also getting boards, I think it's key to have, right? Especially when you have the guard play that we now have with Austin Reaves and Luka. So I think having that combination is something that I think is what they saw in the offseason, obviously, luckily getting Ayton. And hopefully it'll kind of like he's bought in and it'll pay off throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah. Hopefully we, it's a obviously completely different player than Anthony Davis, and nobody's going to really compare the two, but just kind of what the Lakers need and very much needed last year towards the end of the year in the playoffs. So far, Ayton has provided that, and hopefully kind of stays on that path. Because he's a former number 1 pick. I mean, has some talent. He was really good with Phoenix. So it's not like he hasn't had good seasons, just kind of fell off there at the end of his tenure with Phoenix, and then with Portland, it's just it is what it is. So, I like what I see, and I hope they can continue to feed him and kind of keep him in the game. And definitely, it's been a good addition along with Marcus Smart, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to that was a good lead way to what I wanted to get into. We got 2 players on this team. I feel like they are going to be together, locked in, a dynamic duo. The new Bash brothers, Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt. Ooh. Their defensive presence on this team is going to be something that will create a lot of wins, but will also, if they can continue to play this way, will do wonders when it comes to playoff time. Because I feel like Jared Vanderbilt was a plus 15 tonight. He had 9, 5, 2 assists, 2 steals, and just was kind of all over the place. Marcus Smart has continued to apply pressure on defense, especially when it comes to the guards or their best player. And so I think players like that we didn't really have last year because Jared Vanderbilt was injured, kind of coming back, and was never the same last year. He was kind of like that a couple of years ago. And then now we're getting the best version of Marcus Smart prior to some of the injuries that he's had the last year. So what do you think of them kind of moving forward there?
Yeah, I was definitely thinking the same. Vando at the 5. Last year was a tough year for him. Remember, he was going to come back. Was it like he's going to be back game 4 of the playoffs the year before, and then he came back and he's finally fully healthy, and he just has to play his role. We talked about, let's not put him in the bad spots where he's in there with like Hayes or something of that nature, or he's, an offensive threat. Like, we know what he is. And then Smart, I just hope he can stay healthy, right? Like, long season, he's like throwing himself all over the place, and it's great to see. I just hope, we saw him go to the locker room tonight. He looks like he came back, and we'll have to wonder, right? Back to back tomorrow. Does he perhaps sit? Things of that nature. But just if as a whole with those 2 new Bash brothers, I think it's kind of a tone setter. I think it's a pace changer, and that is something we didn't have last year. So that was good to see tonight too.
Yeah, for sure. Let me hop into one of these comments from our YouTube chat. I'm worried about overuse of Smart, and that's kind of what Eric just said right now. Now, yes, do I worry about him? The way he plays, his physicality can be very demanding on the body. So he's going to have to find that fine line with that. But it's a lot of soft tissue stuff, right? So it's like bruising of the body, constant like banging of knees, and like I think that's what kind of happened with his knee, and kind of it gets locked up in that way. So I think yes, it's hard to say tone that down because that's who he is.
Of course,
yeah, giving him a little bit more rest, throughout like every 5-6 games, or just maybe some games he won't play as physical as he is. But that's something we're gonna have to watch out for, kind of moving forward. But it's just the way he is.
Yeah, it's like we don't want a non-physical Marcus Smart. We may as well not have him. But yeah, it's a very good point, as I kind of just mentioned, where it is get you a little worried. But hopefully Lakers manage those minutes. It's an early season, back to back. So as long as he's fine, he'll be out there. But they will, like you just said, every 5-6 games kind of monitor that, because that kind of style we need in late in the season and the playoffs. But yeah, I mean it was a kind of a no lose situation with his signing, and so far has been paying off dividends.
Yeah, definitely, because he's a Boston Celtics, and so kind of signing him is tough. But we did have a Rick Fox that came to our team, and obviously the Lakers loved Rick Fox.
Yep.
Again, Sam Davison, the Bash Bros fire.
Ooh.
Okay, so if you guys like the Bash Bros as a little new term for Vando and Smart, holla in the chat and let us know.